You paid extra for it. Your contractor called it the smart choice. Maybe your builder offered it as an upgrade, or you saw it on a renovation show and thought, finally a real solution. Sealed tight, energy efficient, and modern. The kind of thing that separates a well-built home from everything else on the block. What nobody told you is that in certain situations, under certain conditions, with certain installers, spray foam insulation can make your house harder to inspect, harder to repair, and harder to sell. And the worst part, from the outside, from the inside, from every surface you can see, it looks completely fine. That's the trap. And it's already inside a lot of houses. Here's what you are told when someone pitches spray foam. It seals every gap. It creates an airtight envelope. It cuts your energy bills. It outperforms fiberglass bats, blown-in cellulose, rigid foam boards, everything. It is the premium option. The one the really knowledgeable people choose. You will hear phrases like superior performance, long-term value, complete coverage. It sounds airtight in more ways than one. And honestly, the sales pitch works because some of it is true. Done correctly in the right assembly by a properly trained crew, spray foam can perform well. But you're not buying a lab result, you're buying an install inside your actual house. And that gap between what the product can do and what actually happens inside your walls is exactly where things start to go wrong. Here's the moisture problem, and it matters more than most homeowners realize. Spray foam is not just an insulator, it is also a vapor retarder. In some forms, it essentially stops moisture from moving through the assembly at all. That sounds like protection. What it can actually mean is that if moisture gets into the assembly from anywhere, such as a slow roof leak, condensation, or an imperfect seal, it now has nowhere to go. The wall cavity or roof deck that used to be able to dry out cannot dry out anymore. The moisture just sits there, against the wood, behind the foam in the dark, and you have no idea because the surface above it looks completely normal. Roof sheathing can rot, framing can degrade, and the timeline on that damage is not days or weeks, it is years. You might not see the first sign of a real problem until a home inspection before a sale, or until a roofer pulls back a section and finds wood that has been quietly failing for the better part of a decade. Now add the installation problem on top of that, because this is where it gets worse. Spray foam is a two-component chemical system. The two components have to mix at the right ratio, at the right temperature, against a substrate that is dry and within a specific temperature range. When any of those variables are off, and in the real world on a real job site, with a crew working fast, variables go off. You can end up with off-ratio foam that never fully cures, foam that shrinks, foam that pulls away from the framing it was supposed to seal, creating gaps that are now hidden behind a surface that looks perfectly installed. You can have uneven coverage leaving cold spots and air leaks in a job that the installer signed off on as complete. You cannot see any of this. No visual inspection from inside the finished space will catch it. The homeowner who walks through after the job looks at the surface and sees foam. It looks good to them. The problem is already buried. And here's the thing nobody wants to say directly. This is not just about bad contractors. The market pushes hard towards spray foam. Manufacturer representative incentives drive decisions. Installer certification programs vary wildly in actual rigor. Energy rebate programs reward air sealing without verifying how it was achieved or whether the assembly can handle the moisture consequences. Builders offer it as a premium upgrade because the margin is attractive. Renovation culture equates sealed with smart. The entire current runs in one direction and it sweeps many homeowners with it. You made a decision inside a machine designed to make one answer feel obvious. That is not a conspiracy. That is just how market incentives work. And when that machine gets something wrong, the bill lands on you. Let's talk about repair costs, because this part is concrete. Your house is not a static object. Pipes run through walls, wiring ages, roof penetrations fail, things leak, things need access. In a house without spray foam, a plumber can often cut a small access panel, do the work, and patch the drywall. An electrician can fish wire through a cavity. A roofer can investigate a problem area without a major operation, add closed cell spray foam to those assemblies, and every one of those scenarios gets more invasive. To get to what is behind the foam, you have to destroy the foam. There is no peeling it back and replacing it cleanly. You cut it out, you excavate. Then you have a repair job that now includes foam remediation on top of whatever the underlying problem was. The upgrade did not protect the house from future repair costs. In some cases it added to them. Then there is the odor problem. This one is visceral in a way the other issues are not. Off-ratio foam where the chemical mix was wrong, can off gas for months, sometimes much longer. A persistent chemical smell inside a home that you cannot locate, cannot clean away, and cannot remove without tearing out the assembly it came from. Homeowners have reported this. Remediation contractors always have seen it. Installers often respond by saying it is normal and it will dissipate. Sometimes it does not. And the solution, when it becomes undeniable, is destructive. You are not patching a smell, you are gutting the space. At this point, someone is going to say it, so let us say it first. Spray foam works great when it's done right. Building science is nuanced. Plenty of homes have spray foam and perform without any of these problems. Every material can fail under bad conditions. All of that is true, and none of it helps you. Because done right requires a level of installation quality and assembly knowledge that you, as a homeowner, have almost no ability to verify before the walls close. You cannot see the mix ratio, you cannot inspect the substrate conditions that existed when the crew was working, you cannot check whether the roof assembly your installer created is actually designed to handle the moisture behavior of a fully sealed unvented attic in your specific climate. You find out what done wrong looks like. When the smell appears, when an inspector flags it, when the roofer opens the decking. The phrase done right is reassuring to the people who already know how to verify it. That is not most homeowners. And then there's the resale moment, because everything that feels invisible to you becomes visible to a buyer's inspector. Spray foam in a roof assembly prompts questions about whether it was installed correctly, whether the attic has adequate ventilation, whether the sheathing has been checked. A buyer's agent who has seen foam jobs go wrong gets cautious. Buyers get nervous. You may face a credit, a negotiation, or a walkaway. The premium upgrade you paid for becomes a line item in someone else's due diligence. You paid to increase the home's value. You may have introduced a question instead. Pull back far enough and spray foam becomes a symbol of something bigger. The modern home improvement market keeps moving towards systems that look clean, perform on paper, and become harder to see inside. Sealed assemblies, specialty finishes, smart systems, things that require specific knowledge to maintain, specific tools to diagnose, specific contractors to repair. Each one trades homeowner transparency for aesthetic or efficiency gains. Each one increases your dependence on specialists whose interests are not always the same as yours. Spray foam is just the clearest current example. It is not the last one. Sealed is not the same as safe. Premium is not the same as protected. The most expensive problems inside a house are the ones that look fine on the surface while something is quietly failing behind it. If the assembly is wrong for your climate, if the install had variables that went off, if you trusted marketing language where you needed verified building science, the consequences arrive late, hit hard, and come with no clean fix. The contractors who have been doing this for 30 years already know which jobs come back. The inspectors know which attics make them slow down. The remediation crews know what a bad foam job looks like when you finally open the wall. Now you do too. Before you sign the contract. Before the foam goes in. Before it looks perfect from the outside.